Hello and welcome to another edition of Prescott Talks on Prescott E! News. I'm your host today, David McNabb, and I've got a special guest here to bring to you today. It's Andy Nelson, who's running for the Prescott Unified School District Governing Board. Andy, thank you for joining us today, spending some time with us.
Thank you for the privilege, David.
I appreciate you being here. And Andy Nelson, you are the third person on the ticket. And tell us about a little bit about your own background, and then about how you got connected with Linda and Michelle.
Okay, very good. So first of all, I'm a Prescott resident for the last 22 years. I've had a practice here, a chiropractic practice here on 12th Place, and treating patients like family for those 21 years. I have 6 children that have all been Prescott Unified School District educated, and one left at Mile High Middle School. Adam is kind of my why, along with all of the children in our school. That's the reason I'm doing it, guys. I care about kids and love our schools and our teachers. And my wife and I, my wife Sally and I, we both volunteered as character counts teachers to come into Abaya Judd Elementary and teach character counts. And then we did the Respect program at Granite Mountain Middle School.
What did you teach in character counts?
So there's the pillars of character, and I can't remember them all, but that was a long time ago. But obviously they're great pillars like respect and courage, and all those
honesty, integrity,
all those pillars.
Okay.
I will tell you though, David, that character counts has been hijacked.
How'd that happen?
Well, it was taught by volunteers that came into the schools like ourselves, and now we have to have counselors and character coaches and mental health specialists and all this bureaucratic administration to teach the same courses that we taught at no cost to the district.
Oh my gosh. So they found people to hire to come in who are professionals.
That's right, the experts.
Experts. Yes, beware of experts. Okay, well, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Because, that kind of grassroots involvement from the community in schools is what we need more of, not less of.
Absolutely. Deborah McVeigh at the Republican Women of Prescott has a whole host of volunteers that go into the schools, and she logs their hours and asks them what they do, and they generate a report. And I am for community volunteerism. That's one of the things that is a pillar of one of the pillars of my campaign, along with parental involvement. We need to get more involved as parents. Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely need that. It is something that's very important for our education and for our students. So, so you're a chiropractor, and you've been here in the community for how many years?
Over 22 years.
Over 22 years. Yeah. And you decided, why did you decide to get into this campaine?
Let me answer that with a little bit longer question about my background in the community as well. I've been, of course, I was the Sun Up Rotary Club Rotarian for several years, and I love the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Mm-hmm. And then I was a Scoutmaster and a merit badge counselor for the Boy Scouts of America.
Great.
And the Scout oath: be prepared and do a good turn daily. And a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Yeah. These are the values of Prescott. These are the values that I want to promote on the school board.
Absolutely. Those are Christian values, and they used to be at least American values.
I think they still are.
Okay.
And so despite the vocal minority, I think the majority of people have values that are, if we fear God, we love our country, we're patriots, we want to contribute, and I hope that those values continue. And that's, again, one of the reasons I'm running. I also was the chairman for the Quad City Interfaith Council. And, I mentioned that because we were involved with Salvation Army and their Operation Deep Freeze, feeding the hungry.
Yes.
During those winter days. We worked with Habitat for Humanity, the Coalition for Compassion and Justice, CCJ. I was instrumental in donating 50 beds to their staggered straight community homeless shelter.
Oh.
So, I was also did the 1-year servant leadership program called Prescott Area Leadership. I was the best class of 26 for PAL.
Wow.
So that tells a little bit about myself and my record of totally volunteerism in our community.
Great. Is the Interfaith Council, are they still active?
They are. Not quite as active, but yes, they're still there. And it includes many faiths. Yeah. And it was a pleasure to work with them.
And they're doing beneficial things for the community?
Yeah, absolutely. They do a gratitude. It's near Thanksgiving, so it's a service gratitude. I can't remember the name of it now, but we held it at Catholic at Sacred Heart, and we've held it at the St. Luke's, and so it's a great program. And again, we started out by working with Operation Deep Freeze, feeding the homeless. That's
such a great thing that the Salvation Army does for the community here, for the homeless. And I mean, we've got to show caring and compassion and love if we're going to live out our Christian values. So
absolutely,
that's just what it's about. So now, tell us about your education background.
So I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and I received my doctorate of chiropractic from Texas Chiropractic College in Houston.
Okay.
And prior to that, I did some pre-grad education at Yavapai College and back in Mesa Community College as well.
Okay, very good. All right, so you've been a chiropractor for a long time, and you're here at 12th Street in Prescott. And tell us why you entered the race for the school board. Now, this is not a paid position.
That's right.
Okay, so you're doing it because you're concerned about something. What are you concerned about?
Well, again, being just a public servant, working with kids and having children in the district is my primary reason. We all know that there's progressive ideologies that are creeping into our schools. In fact, I call it a drip system. The drip system is that you have just a little bit of a drip in your garden, and one drop at a time, it's feeding that plant. And there's something that sprouts up, and you think it's a plant. Well, it turns out to be a weed. And so we need to get the weeds out and make sure that they come out. And I will tell you, despite what somebody else says, that Prescott Unified School District does a pretty good job. You can find isolated references of something that's pseudo-critical race theory, but you will not find it rampant throughout our school system. That is absolutely a falsehood. Yeah. And I will prove it if anybody asks me. In fact, they can, this is something that really gets me because, you have to be fair and balanced. You have to be truthful.
Yeah.
You have to be honest and have integrity. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that PUSD does a pretty good job. You may disagree with some of the things they did. I certainly disagree with the way that they handled the pandemic. They accepted $8.1 million in what's called ESSER funds in exchange for abiding by CDC guidelines, masking our children, quarantining them, contact tracing them, and trying to get them to be vaccinated when it wasn't even a vaccine at all. Mm-hmm. And about 0.2% of children were actually affected by the virus. So anyway, sorry to get off on a tangent on that, but the honest truth of it is that we have schools that in PUSD that do a pretty darn good job, especially when you compare it to the rest of the country. Now, if you listen to the national narrative, there is all sorts of stuff going on there. The woke ideologies, the CRT, but we have something called Capturing Kids' Hearts in PUSD, and that is a social emotional learning program. I don't like it. It's fairly benign at this point. But just like those weeds that I mentioned, or those little sprouts of something coming up from that drip system, they will turn out into something if we aren't vigilant.
Okay, and how does that work? What do they do?
So social emotional learning is, first of all, they have a contract between what was the teacher and was the student, now the educator and the learner. See, they're trying to equalize teacher and educator and learner to where that respect as a teacher and that that hierarchy, if you will, of a student was like this. Now they're trying to equalize that. So the student can actually, or the learner rather, can actually call out the teacher because of their social contract that they've made with one another. It's interesting how these little nuances, I call them nuances because that's what they are. So one of the other things, they like to do things collectively. You know, collaboration is a good thing, but what they're doing is working in groups now where they say, you work as a group, but what happens, our kids have always said this when they work collaboratively. Oh, I did all the work and so didn't do any work and so was goofing off. And, that's collaborative working. We need to have kids that are accountable individually. Mm-hmm. They need to have their own record of academic achievement. And so it's important to work both collaboratively, but more individually as well. You know, Sheriff Lamb spoke at the Reagan Lincoln dinner here recently. And he said something that I'll never forget. He said that your children are not special. Your children are not special. They are unique. Okay? Yeah. Special implies entitlement. Mm-hmm. Unique means that they are individuals. Yes. And they need to learn as individuals as well as collectively. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the social emotional model of everybody's kind of all together with this social contract, the educator, the learner, working collectively. And they have those little affirmations. And, again, it seems fairly benign right now, but the next phase in social emotional learning is called transformative SEL. Now, transformative SEL is where they're going to get more into social emotional justice. Mm-hmm. And we know that justice, that word justice, means more restorative justice, more distributive justice. Again, away from individuality and accountability and more towards this collective. Yes. So it's very, very subtle. Mm-hmm. Social emotional learning. Think about the name, capturing kids' hearts. Well, if you capture kids' hearts when they're young, guess what? You're able to get them into that mold of being a drone, a social justice warrior, and being part of that Marxist working class, if you will. You might think that's alarmist or but it's absolutely the trend that we're following. Yeah. We send our children to school to prepare for life. They need to have that character that my wife and I taught back in Character Counts. They don't need all the stuff that they're learning about in social emotional learning. And I had a teacher that was a patient, and she teaches at Tri-City Prep, and I said, "Do you do social emotional learning in your school?" She says, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, I explained to her what it was. No, we just have the teacher, the principal, and the parent get together and we deal with it." Huh. Why can't they do that in public schools?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, we don't have a lot of time left. Tell us the rest of the things that we need to know about you and your campaign and why you're running.
Thanks for asking. Okay, again, so all this progressive ideology aside, there's a lot of other things that go on in a school board meeting and in a school board. I have attended about 14 of the last 15 school board meetings. No other candidate has done that. I've seen one other candidate twice and another candidate once and another. So in other words, once or twice for any of the 5 candidates running for the 4-year seat that I'm running for. I have a lot of seat time listening to those meetings. Good. I've got to know the players. I've got to know the process. Mm-hmm. And public comment is one of the things that I really hope to change. I will change. Good. Because there's too much intimidation and restriction to public comment. Right. Humboldt Unified has a 30-minute session where they ask for public comment, and it's a lot more open dialogue. Good. So that's one of the things that I'm running on. I have my little rat card here with my family picture here. I have, like I said, my 6 PUSD educated children. I have 10 grandchildren. On this side, fiscal conservative. I'm a fiscal conservative and a social conservative, even though this is a nonpartisan race. And what that means is that I'm going to say no to some things. In all since July of last year that I've attending those meetings, I have not heard one no. very, very few challenging questions. You know, and we have a curriculum, by the way, David, that's coming up. Tonight's meeting. Tonight, we are going to have a meeting, a school board meeting, and they're going to introduce the new social studies curriculum. Please, if anything I can do today, encourage parents, community members, look at that curriculum. It's going to be between McGraw-Hill and TCI, and because those are the two that met Arizona standards. And I have the rubric that they're using to select the curriculum. But we want to look for woke ideologies in that curriculum.
Yes.
We want to look for the 1619 Project.
Yes.
We want to comb through that material, and we want to have public comment. Come to the board meetings. It's usually the first Tuesday of each month, and make public comment.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, that's
And
correct.
Usually at the district office on Gurley.
That's correct.
Occasionally they have it somewhere else. Now, will this social studies curriculum be on the website that we can pull up and look at?
It will. It will. So please look at it. And you know, her name is Mrs. Secor. I'm trying to think of her first name, but she is the person that's in charge of that project. They had 6 teachers, 6 administrators, I think another half dozen counselors, and 3 parents. So there should have been more than 3 parents on that committee to select that curriculum. So now we have the chance for 60 days till December 5th to comb through that curriculum.
Okay, really good. Andy, we are out of time, unfortunately, and I know there's a lot more we could talk about, and I'm sorry we don't have the time to do that, but tell the folks how to contact you and anything else that you want to leave us with, okay?
Yeah, I want to leave you with one theme that I've ran on, and that is to act and not be acted upon. If we don't make decisions today for our children, then other people will make those decisions for us. And I promise you, they won't be the same decisions that you would have made as a parent and a concerned citizen. So act or be acted upon is my theme. And of course, I'm a parent with a spine. As a chiropractic physician, I'm also a parent with a spine. That means that I'm willing to stand up for what's right and do right by our children and our parents and the Arizona Parents Bill of Rights. And to follow the rule of law and to be a member of the school board that has integrity, that's principled, that's honest, and that can work across the board and learn how to disagree agreeably, okay, with respect.
Right.
And dignity and so forth. And my website is voteandynelson.com.
Okay, so we can find out more about you on the website.
Correct.
Very good. Andy, thank you so much for coming in today and being my guest here on Prescott Talks. It's been great talking with you and learning about your campaign and about you.
My pleasure, and thank you, David, for the privilege. Appreciate it.
All right, and thanks for tuning in and spending a few minutes with myself and Andy Nelson, who's running for Prescott Unified School District Governing Board. That election is going to be on November the 6th?
November the 8th.
November 8th. So get out there on November 8th and vote. And you've heard it, Andy. I think he's going to be a real good, strong candidate for Prescott Unified. Take care now.
Thank you very much.
All right.